G'day everybody, welcome back to another video on the channel. In this video we're going to be taking a look at my early AFL ladder predictions for the 2022 season. So with these ladder predictions everybody, I've tried to make them, as unique as possible. I have a few bold calls in my ladder predictions. I have a few teams that I reckon will rise up the ladder, a couple teams that will slide down the ladder, and I've also made sure that I have at least one new AFL team in the bottom and top 4 compared to last year's ladder. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're going to enjoy today's video, and let's get into my early predictions. Okay, kicking it off at 18th, and I believe the wooden spooners of 2022 will be the Adelaide Crows. It just feels that out of all the other bottom 4 and 5ish teams, they just seem to have the least amount of short-term kind of future at the moment. You've got players like Laird and Sloan and Tex Walker and all those big stars. For me, they're just, players that are just going to, I can't really see get better. They'll just probably progressively get worse with age. So they're needing that new kind of talent, which they do have. But for me, I reckon it'll be a bit of a slow rebuild for 2022. So for the wooden spooners, it will be, in my opinion, the Crows. Now at 17th, I've gone for the Gold Coast Suns. In my opinion, I just feel it will just be a bit of another meh season from them. They just always seem to, have a few wins, not very nice wins, but then they'll just crash and burn for a period of time. It'll be interesting to see how Mac Andrew goes over there and 𝗵𝐴 but for me, it's just the typical Suns each year. They just seem to eventually crash and burn and have a huge slump of consistency. So yeah, for the Suns, I reckon they'll slide down compared to last year and they'll hit 17th. In 16th place, I have gone for Hawthorn. Obviously, it'll be an exciting year for the Hawks next season with the coach succession plan happening, with Mitchell taking the reins over Alistair Clarkson. But yeah, usually when these coach succession plans happens, it is typically a bit of a slow season. Trying to get the playing group, the chemistry working, and the coach to player kind of relationships going. And yeah, I mean, in my opinion, they are one of the bottom-ish teams to be projected. Also the Hawks, let's not forget. And yeah, it just in my opinion, with that new coach, it could take a while for things to rebuild. So it could be a bit of a slow season for the Hawks, and I've got them in 16th. 15th now, I've gone for North Melbourne, and I feel they're actually going to have a really solid season next year. They were wooden spooners this year, but I feel they're going to move up quite a number of spots in the ladder next season. They just seem to have one of the most exciting futures at the moment. You've got a real solid coach that are wanting to play the youth and just love the footy club in Noble. Then you've got the young guns like Stevenson, Cam Zurhaar, Nick Larkey, Aaron Hall, Taron Thomas, who still have boatloads of potential, man. They could develop into true footy stars. Next season for the Roos, I feel like things are just going to start clicking into place a lot more better. However, they're still a very young side, and a bit of a slump here and there, and a bit of losses here and there will come into play, I reckon. So yeah, and I've got them in 15th. In 14th now, I've got another team who's projected to finish bottom 4, and I've gone for the Pies. I reckon they can have a solid improvement next year. Something's just telling me that the new coach of Craig McRae will definitely have a massive impact for the Pies next season. The Pies still have a very solid playing group, let's not forget. Players like Chris Maynard, Pendlebury, and the young guns like Ollie Henry, Caleb Poulter, and now also the inclusion of Nick Dacos. It could be a bit more of an exciting season for the Pies next year, but however, similar to North, they'll pick up a few solid wins and I can see them on the up. But I reckon that, they'll cop a few hefty losses here and there as well. So yeah, Magpies, I feel like, they're going to be improvements next year. I've got them sitting in 14th. Now on 13th, and I've gone for a bold call here, I'm going to put in the Eagles. I reckon they're going to be pretty big sliders down the ladder next season. I just feel that 2021 was disappointing, and I don't really see much upside, really. I don't really see that kind of fire in the bellies. They've picked up a few nice plays in the off-season, but for me, I just don't really see, that much upside for the Eagles. It just seems to be a lack of exciting kind of future at the moment, and that just catches my eye, really, with the Eagles. So, yeah, for me, they're going to be a bit of a slider next season, and I've got them in 13th. Now for 12th place, and in here I'm going to be putting in St Kilda. It's always a tricky one, St Kilda, because they could either finish top 8 or they could just have a slump of a season and finish, you know, around bottom 4 or bottom 6 or whatever. But for me, I'm probably going to put him right in the middle, around 12th. You know, you still have those exciting players like Jack Steele, who I reckon will have an even better season next year. But for me, it just seems to be like, you know, there's just many more other teams that are currently better than St Kilda that will take up those final spots. And yeah, for me, they just lack consistency throughout the home away season. Let's not forget that they've been stitched up again with quite a hard fixture. So for me, with those reasons, I'll have St Kilda sitting around 12th. Now, in 11th place, I have gone for the Blues. Yeah, similar to St Kilda, it could be a team that either makes the top 8, you know, finally makes the top 8, or they can just slump again and finish mid-table. But yeah, for me, I reckon 11th, they will, yeah, I can see them having a bit of an improvement next year. They've just really got to, you know, play aggressive footy. You know, Michael Voss, very exciting appointment, I reckon, for the Blues. It's a risk they're willing to take because you don't really know much about Michael Voss in the head coaching role. You just really hope that those stars like Cripps and Walsh really play their top footy. And also players like Hewitt and Moplop, the new boys, they're also players that really need to lift the squad as well. But yeah, a lot of new faces in that football club, so it is really unpredictable, I reckon, for the Blues. Yeah, they could even finish top 8, heck. But for me, it's probably a bridge too far for finals. I reckon they'll probably have a bit of improvement next year, but for me, I'm just sticking around the sweet spot, around 11th place. They could be in contention for finals, maybe in the second half of the season, but yeah, I think they could crash and burn a few games. So for Carlton, I've got them in 11th. Now in 10th, and I have gone for another bold decision here. I have got Geelong missing out on finals, coming 10th place. I know a lot of fans, Geelong's fans, won't be happy with me saying that, but yeah, for me, an AFL ladder prediction's got to have these bold calls, man, and for a top 8 team to drastically miss out on finals, I reckon it could be Geelong out of any other team, you know. We definitely witnessed last year that they just had such a disappointing finals series, and you heard many people say this is possibly the end of the premiership window, and I feel now that the Cats are starting to hit that rebuild kind of stage. They'll probably start pumping in the youth a bit more, even though yes, the Cats have a very solid home away season. It's something they really need to do. I feel that the Cats are still a finals quality side, but it just feels that they have that lack of upside heading into 2022 with just, yeah, such a disappointing finals series. So yeah, for me, I reckon it's going to be a pretty bold decision. Could potentially happen, but yeah, Cats are going to miss finals and I've got them in 10th. Now in 9th place, someone's got to finish 9th, let's remember, fellas. So yeah, please don't take this to heart, but I've gone for Essendon. I reckon they're just going to miss out in finals. As I said earlier in the video, I reckon 11th to 8th will be very close. Could potentially come down to the last round to see who makes finals. But for me, Essendon, yeah, don't get me wrong, a very, very exciting team to play. But for me, last season, they just seemed to lack that kind of consistency in the home-away season, which are obviously cobwebs that can be dusted up throughout the pre-season and heading into next year. But yeah, something's just telling me that they'll fall just short. As I said, a team has got to finish 9th, and the teams that I have above the Bombers, I reckon, are just that, probably just that more of a finals looking side compared to Essendon. And also, let's not forget that the Bombers have a very difficult fixture next season, which could potentially, yeah, come back to haunt them. So yeah, don't get me wrong, I can still definitely see Essendon making finals, but I've just got a lot more teams ahead of Essendon than I reckon will make, or will have a more chance of making finals over the Bombers. So yeah, Essendon, I've got 9th. Now we're into the top 8, and these are the 8 teams that I believe will make finals next year. Kicking it off in 8th, we have gone for Fremantle. I do believe that they are going to be playing finals footy next year. Some people probably have them top 4 or top 6 or whatever, but for me, I'm probably just going to keep them around 8th. Because let's remember, they are still a bit of a premature side for finals, but I reckon they will absolutely smash it next year. They just seem to have such an excellent off-season, picking up very solid players, getting out players that they don't really need. But I reckon, hey, anything could happen, and these Freo side could potentially absolutely boss it next year. The thing that always catches my eye with Freo as well, that just their playing group is so underrated with most players. So wrong, Mundy, Collier, Darcy, Brayshaw, Lockie Schultz, Luke Ryan, Matt Taberner, Nat Fife, even Rory Lobb, all really solid players that can, really bond with each other well with some solid team chemistry. Also with the inclusion of Erasmus, JMS, two very exciting draft players. Jordan Clark, essentially pretty much a first round pick heading over to the Dockers as well. Let's not forget Matt Johnson. It just feels like their playing group is going to be such an elite force to be reckoned with, and for me, I reckon they're just going to be sneaking into finals. So for the Dockers, I have them in 8th. Now for 7th, I have gone for a massive riser, and I reckon the Tigers, they're going to be making finals footy again. Don't doubt the Tigers, that's what I say. It's honestly such a mixed opinion. Some people think that they'll definitely make finals next year. Other people think that they are still a finished era or dynasty. But I reckon they still got one more, burst in the playing group. You just have to remember that last season, the reason why they did so bad is just because of the absence of their premiership players. You had Bolter, Vlosten, Hooley, Broad, Baker, all kind of getting injured, missing a lot of games, and that really exposed the young and inexperienced defenders for the Tigers side. Also Dusty Martin, Edwards, Lambert, Prestia, and also players like Castagna, Rioli, Cuddy in such poor form, and also their pressure clearances, all that kind of stuff were poor. So I reckon they'll have a big preseason, the Tigers. They'll dust up all those cobwebs. All the stars will get back into the side and fully fit, ready to go. And also, let's not forget the absolutely fantastic draft from the Tigers, picking up such great players. Players being Gibcus, Tom Brown, Sonsie, Sam Bakes, Johnson Clark. Those are all really solid players that will add to the depth of the Tigers, adding, more force to the side. So for me, don't doubt the Tigers, don't leave them out. I reckon they're going to be playing finals footy next year, and I've got them in 7th. Now on 6th, and I've gone for the Brisbane Lions. I still believe that they are still a top 4-ish, top 6-ish kind of worthy side. They are still, a pretty solid chance for the flag next year. But I kind of got them on the lower end of the ladder compared to a top 4 spot, just because, compared to other teams I have above them, I reckon they are a stronger outfit than the Lions for next year. Let's not forget that Hipwood is going to, potentially be out for a number of weeks next season. Such a key player for the Lions, and that's what really killed them in the second half of the season for the Lions. I'm sure that 𝐓𝐴 could be a ready-to-play round 1 player for the Lions. He could be a very nice kind of, halfback flanker. Adding to such an elite playing group of the Lions, let's not forget, they had a pretty exciting final series. That semi-final, it's that kind of loss where it's like, we'll be back, and because of that, I can't see the Lions dropping out of the finals. I reckon they'll be, in contention for a top 4, but I reckon 6th is a pretty solid spot for them. So Brisbane, I reckon they'll still have an excellent year next year, and I've got them in 6th. Now in 5th place, and I have gone for the Sydney Swans. I reckon similar to the Lions, they had such a disappointing finals loss last year, and it's the same thing. We'll be back, baby. It truly was one of the most exciting teams to watch in the 2021 season, and I reckon they can continue that form heading into next year. The Swans just seem to be a very tight-knit group with their balance of the youth and the veterans, and they combine into a very, very solid force. They had a few hiccups of consistency, but yet still a very strong home-away season. But for me, they just seem to lack that kind of X-factor, kind of 30-touch goal-a-game player in their outfit, and a really, really strong defence. So I reckon, for the Swans, it's probably a bridge too far for a flag, but I could still definitely see him pushing for top 4. I reckon their goal will be winning a finals game. And speaking of the lack of that X-factor player, that's where I reckon 𝐼𝐴𝐴𝐶 in the midfield could potentially be their man for that, really huge game changer, because that's what I reckon they'll lack in the side. And let's not forget, this could potentially be Buddy's last crack, and hey, he could have a massive year next year. So for the Swans, I've got them moving up 1 spot compared to last year, and I've got them in 5th. Now we move on into the top 4, and I'm going to kick it off with a very bold prediction here. I've got the Giants. I reckon they're going to be making top 4 finals footy next year. The reason why I picked the Giants is just because they are such an elite playing group when you really look at the names they have. I just feel that since they're not a Victorian side, people don't really, take a really deep look at it. They just think, they're alright. And because of this, Giants always seem to go under the radar. let's not forget, you know, for the past 4 or 5 years, they've been around that top 4 spot. It just seemed that last year was a bit of a underwhelming year with consistency throughout the home away season. But I reckon they can dust off those cobwebs and really have a solid chance of top 4 next year. But yeah, just players like your Callum Ward-Cumming, Tim Taranto, 𝐓𝐴𝐿𝐴, Jacob Hopper, Josh Kelly, Toby Green, Tom Green, Perryman, Whitfield, Sam Taylor, they're just all really solid, underrated players. And with also the inclusion of Finn Callaghan, Lee Kalir, Josh Fay, those are definitely 3 players that are ready to play. It's just, such a solid playing group. And I reckon if they can get the consistency right throughout the home and away season, they are a huge force to be reckoned with. And yeah, I'm going to make the bold call. I reckon Giants will be making top 4 next year. Now in 3rd place, and I've gone for Port Adelaide. I still feel that, they are still a force to be reckoned with heading into next season. It was just such an underwhelming finals performance, and I was just surprised that they had such a poor preliminary final. And because of this, I reckon there's going to be a lot of fire in the bellies, and they always, let's remember, seem to have such an excellent home and away season. Their playing group is still easily one of the best in the AFL, and if they just really get that team chemistry and consistency going, they can be a huge force in 2022. Still, a top 4 side, I reckon. Obviously, everyone says, oh, well, they can't win it away or whatever. They can't beat big teams, sorry. But I still that Port Adelaide are on the up. I reckon they could make a grand final next year. And for me, I've got them making top 4, and I've got Port in 3rd. Now in 2nd, and I have gone for the Premiers runners-up, the Western Bulldogs, and I might as well just do 1st as well, the Premiers, the Demons. I know it's very boring having Bulldogs 2nd, Melbourne 1st, but hey, it's an early predictions, and I'll probably make an updated video around, early March next year. But I just feel that these 2 teams are just so solid, and I really, they're just consistent. They're just overall really excellent teams. For the Bulldogs especially, they are a team that is just going to be, we are not done yet. They are wanting to have such an excellent season next year, and I can definitely see them even taking the minor premiers spot. Just such a tight-knit group with excellent players all across the field. I still question, could their backline be improved a little bit better? That's probably their weakness, but hey, it's just covered beautifully by their excellent midfield and forward line. And Bulldogs, I reckon, will be in 2nd. And for 1st, the Demons, it is a bit boring having the Premiers being the minor Premiers next year. It is pretty predictable. But, I just feel they are easily the best team in the AFL, and they'll carry that over to next year. I just cannot see them having a premiership hangover. Just star players all across the field, and I reckon it's going to get even better for the Demons next year. Possibly a back-to-back premiership. So I've got them in 1st, and there you go, fellas. There is my early predictions for 2022 for the ladder. So if you did enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. That'd be much appreciated. Also leave a comment and get chatting down below. Who do you reckon will make finals? Who do you reckon will be a slider? Who do you reckon will be a big riser? It is a very difficult thing to do, a ladder predictions. Let's not forget, everybody. It's, you're going to have to put someone 9th, or going to have to put someone 10th, or going to have someone have an underwhelming season when you personally think they'll be on the up. So get chatting in the comments below. And thank you for watching, everybody, and I'll talk to you later. See you later, folks.